All right, hello, good evening. Welcome to the Law Entrance YouTube channel. Today we are here with a very special session for all of you. The session's name is 4 months to CLAT, and today we are going to talk about our strategy for the last 4 months which are upcoming towards the CLAT exam, which is bound to happen on 1st of December. How many of you are here with me? Quickly give me a yes or a message in the live chat so that I know that we have people with us ready to start. Jasmeet is here, Divyansh is here, Shreya is here, Vanshika is here. Okay, we have 28 people live with us. Beautiful. Good evening, all of you. I'll quickly give an introduction about us. So, my name is Govind Singh, and I am your faculty for Logical, English, and GK on the YouTube channel. Along with me is very talented, very experienced CLAT mentor, Amitendra sir. And I recently graduated from Nalsar, and now I am mentoring CLAT aspirants. I have been doing that from the past couple of years, and Amitendra sir has been doing that since I was learning to walk. I think that's enough said. Amitendra
That's
sir,
too, that's too much, Govind. Actually, you are making me feel like I'm quite aged. Actually, okay. So, good evening, guys. Good evening to see you all. Some familiar names out here. So, so wonderful to see you guys once again over here on this platform. And as you know, Govind sir mentioned about himself. So you are attending his session. That is what I would believe actually. So every day, Govind sir is putting a lot of effort actually. So but the Hindu analysis and the other sessions he's doing for logical reasoning. Plus, he's the man behind the quizzes, which goes live at 9 a.m., 9 p.m. every day, actually. So I'm sure a lot of effort which is putting up. You guys are utilizing that actually, and that's definitely helping in your CLAT preparation. So, going, let's quickly move ahead and we'll set the agenda and then we can go ahead with the session. Okay.
sure. I'm hoping you all can see my presentation. We have 5 agenda points for today. Firstly, we'll take a quick progress update on where do we stand in our current CLAT preparation. We'll do a quick SWOT analysis, which is a strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threat analysis. And we'll look at what should be our ideal score or what should be the ideal percentile which we should be looking at this stage of our preparation. We'll do a month on month, 4 month breakdown of our strategy. What should we do for August, for September, for October, and for November just before the exam. And after that, we'll discuss a little deeper into the subject wise analysis of what should be a roadmap with respect to English, with respect to logical, and other subjects. And lastly, we'll have a few tips and tricks and important points for you to remember. If you guys are excited and ready to start the session, quickly give me a ready in the chat box so that we can start without any further ado. Ready in the chat box quickly, guys. I can see a familiar names, people who I usually see in my classes. I see a lot of new names as well. So welcome to the new people as well as the regular audience.
So we have got the confirmation, so we can move ahead.
All right, wonderful. So firstly, let's talk about the progress update. I'm sure most of you are well versed with the syllabus of the exam. Some of you might be starting a preparation probably now or probably started it last month. And if you're not well versed with the syllabus, you should be very thorough with your syllabus at this point of time, as well as the paper pattern. So 120 questions, 120 minutes, all of us know the drill. There are 5 sections to it. I'm not going into the depth of it because we all know the pattern. I'm going with that assumption. If you don't know, please check out the consortium website. Please check out past year papers and make yourself well versed with the pattern. Secondly, when I talk of resources, this is something which is very crucial at this particular stage of your preparation. Now, what I have observed, what sir would have also observed, is aspirants have a FOMO of getting maximum resources in their arsenal and going towards every possible resource which they can gather. Now, that might be the natural tendency because you don't want to miss out on anything. But is that the right way to go about it? Should you stick to a few but good resources, or should you just wander about gathering everything and making a library, as Amitendra sir points it out in many of his sections? So, Amitendra sir, would you please throw some light on how we should go about this?
Yeah, so now, so whatever experiment one had to do and in terms of resources going, I believe that should stop right now actually. And instead of looking for multiple resources for the very same areas, I think it's time to stick to one particular resource and ensuring that we finish that actually, if we have not already done that actually, and I'm sure nobody is able to finish the entire content which is provided to them. So even if I talk about LST per se, look at the number of books, look at the mocks every week, and now the frequency will increase from here onwards. Actually, from next week onwards, the frequency will also increase. Mock itself are going to be a very very great tool actually in the preparation, and I personally believe that they are the best tool in one's preparation actually. So this is the time to have limit focus on limited but the best resources which you can have actually, and just stick to that for the next 4 months. That is something which is definitely very very crucial at this stage, because you can never the process will never end actually. If you continue looking for newer resources, that will never end actually. There are plethora of them actually. At the same time, it is also important, I would like to add over here, because I am part of multiple groups outside. So beyond LST, I'm part of multiple groups. I see a lot of students, and this I pointed many a times, just looking forward to gathering resources one way or the other. Bartering system goes on. Guys, please understand, my I have been observing this for years now. I've never seen those people in the results, at least not in the top 100 anywhere actually. So limiting yourself to best resources at this point of time is very very important, and that is what you should be doing. Yeah, Govind,
All
over
right.
to you.
Thank you so much for your insights, sir. The next point is a very crucial point, which is what is my time management strategy? When we talk of time management, I'm not just talking about when you attempt a mock test or when you would be attempting the real CLAT exam or the elite exam. From time management, you should be having a consolidated timetable, your weekly goals, your monthly goals, right from your preparation stage. You should be ideally looking at your day in chunks, and how should you divide your time should be listed down before the day even starts. What that means is, if you are a school going student, you should ideally divide your time into multiple slots. Before going to the school, you will study probably 1 hour. After coming from the school, you'll probably give 2 or 3 hours, and then after your classes before sleeping, you'll probably give 2 or 3 hours. Whatever is customizable and personalized to your particular need and demand of preparation. You might be a dropper, you might be a college student, you might be a double dropper. You have to customize your time management strategy and stick with it. Set realistic goals and stick with it. That being said, time management within the mock test is equally important. Someone asked me in the chat box, how much time should we give to each particular section? So I think we should discuss this question when we take the section wise strategy, which is in the upcoming slide of the presentation. So hold on to that thought, hold on to that question. We'll definitely dive deeper into it and talk about every subject and how much time you should give it, how should you go about every subject. Stay with me. Okay. Now, when it comes to tracking your progress, which is the next point, giving mocks is one thing and analyzing mocks is another thing. A lot of aspirants miss out on the second aspect, which is analyzing mock. So if you are giving 2 hours to a particular mock test, an equal or probably more amount of time should be given to analyzing a mock test, because if you just keep on giving mock tests, that would not serve the purpose which it is designed for, which is helping you learn from your mistakes. So if you don't identify your mistakes, if you don't write down your mistakes, if you don't work on your mistakes, you would probably make the same mistakes in the next subsequent mocks as well, and probably in the CLAT exam as well. So utilize the mocks in a judicious manner and analyze your preparation on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. By daily basis, I mean, are you meeting your daily goals? Are you giving 1 or 2 mocks every week? Are you analyzing those mocks? Are you setting monthly goals? Are you clearing your backlogs? Are you revising your concepts? You have to have targets set for your day, for your week, as well as for your month, and giving requisite attention to each particular subject. Maybe Amitendra sir can substantiate on the last
Yeah,
2 points.
definitely. So, thank you. And in fact, every subjects require attention actually over here. I come across a lot of students, because when I analyze the mock data, I come across a lot of students who are not still, with just 4 months left, still not working on the quantitative techniques. Actually, they are not attempting the questions. Sometimes the answer is, "Sir, I actually spent so much time in the other four section, I could not get time for that particular section." Please understand, time and again, we have spoken about this. Every section matters in CLAT paper, because forget about everything else, forget about the tiebreaker system. The first thing is the score, the overall score, which consortium will look at. And only when there is a case of tie, they will look at the legal reasoning and whatever they have prescribed for that. But every section, because please understand, however good one could be, at the end of the day, it's a 2 hour examination where you'll be under a little bit of stress actually, and chances are that you might do what we call as human mistakes actually. That is possible, which can happen. So I should not leave anything to chance, and especially if you look at the last 5 years data, and especially if you talk about paper like 2024, the quantitative section itself is a game changer in the allotment of the national universities. So from that perspective, what QT focus has to be maintained. At the end of the day, please understand the remaining three section, which we talk as reading section basically. So Govind, what you mostly deal with actually, reading comprehension, logical reasoning, and legal, I would also say, is part of the reading section. You are left with 80 questions over there, and even if you do your best actually, you will end up with somewhere around, let's say, what, 65 70 at maximum. So every section, including GK will have its own limitation, which means you have to score from every section actually, and that is the reason why every subject needs that attention, what Govind started with actually. So everywhere you have to put your focus, and here onwards, in fact, I believe the momentum has to go up. You have to actually change your gear now, and especially when it comes to the GK section actually, these are going to be definitely the crucial months, but does not mean that you leave what you have already studied. That revision has to happen. That is very, very important.
Absolutely. And lastly, you should be taking your mocks regularly. Do not miss out on your mocks. And when you have attempted your mock, make sure you attend the mock analysis, which happens every Wednesday on our YouTube channel live at 8 p.m. So this week's mock would be analyzed on this particular Wednesday, which is day after tomorrow. Make sure you don't miss it out, guys. That is something which is very crucial for your preparation. Moving on, let's analyze and let's judge where do we stand as of now on 5th of August 2024 with respect to these sections. So this is a small exercise for you guys. We'll go through these subjects one by one. Let's start with English. You have to rate yourself, you have to self rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 100%, and you have to tell me where do you think do you stand on a scale of 0 to 100 when it comes to your English preparation. Now this includes everything. This includes your grammar confidence, this includes your vocabulary practice, this includes your reading comprehension skills, this includes your speed of reading, this includes getting confused between two options. Where do you think do you lie on a scale of 0 to 100? Let's do
And,
a
and, and
quick
and you should
self rate.
understand, like this exercise, Govind, I have already shared with them in the earlier two sessions when we did the 5 months plan with them actually, or the 6 months plan. In fact, the whole idea is that your prep meter should go ahead actually. So you could have been at zero earlier, you could move to 20. Now your possibility is around 40 or even 50 or even 60, maybe 70 for some actually. It may even be that in some of the sections you might say that, okay, I'm around 90% at this point of time, but probably GK is where I'm still not confident. I would rather rate myself 50%. It's all okay. But what is important here is, guys, you need to understand that you should be able to understand, because unless I know about myself, where do I stand at this point of time, I'll never be able to say that with confidence that, okay, this is the effort now which I need to put in actually. So unless I understand where I am at this point of time, having started my preparation maybe a year ago, maybe last 6 months, maybe somebody has going mentioned in the beginning that you might have just started with yesterday, or maybe today you are thinking about starting this. So you may be at zero or you may not be at zero, because please look at the end of the day, if you look at these subjects, you would know something or other actually. So the way the paper is designed, when you talk about reading comprehension, you talk about logical reasoning for that matter, or even when we talk about the quantitative techniques section for that matter actually, this is where you have done something in your class 8 9 10th actually. Those concepts are being used over here actually. So it's not necessary that even if you're starting today, you might be at zero, you might be at 20 30 40 even actually. But that self rating becomes very, very important, and when you are able to rate yourself like you are doing it right now in the chat box, some of you are rating it around 70%, 80, 60. This is what you need to understand. And the moment you are able to do this, the moment you are able to do this honestly, I think you are in the right direction. And from here onwards, you'll always be able to understand, okay, this is what I need to do. For some of you, maybe in next 4 months, if you put in 5 hours of effort every day, maybe you'll need 2 hours of GK. For some, it could be even 1 hour good enough, but then the other sections might require 1 hour, 2 hours of attention. So this is how this prep meter helps you guys actually, and that's why we bring it every time. Is your score moving towards 100%? That is important. That is important. Yeah, go ahead. We can move on.
Absolutely, absolutely. What sir said rightly reflects in the comment section as well, as I can see a range which starts anywhere between 40 to 50% and going on even till 90%. So all of us are at a different stage of preparation. You have to do this exercise for all the five subjects, which is GK, LR, legal, quant, and DI. And what you have to keep in mind is this self-rating is not in comparison with the other people in the chat box. This is your own self-rating as comparison to what you were in July and what you would be in the upcoming months. So, as Sir rightly said, you should be ideally progressing towards 100% in every subsequent week, every subsequent month. And be honest with it, be very upfront and brutal with yourself, and make sure you are working on things which take you towards 100%. So, that is the intention behind the prep meter. Okay, now let's talk about a SWOT analysis of performance, which is essentially your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Firstly, you need to identify what are your strong areas. Now, CLAT exam is a competitive exam, as we all know. This is not like a 10th class exam or a school exam or a unit test where you just have to attempt all the questions from serial number 1 to 20 and you have to give your best at that. You have to be very smart about a competitive exam and you have to play on your strengths. For someone, the strength might be English. For someone, it might be quant. For someone, it might be GK. Someone might be good at memorizing. Someone might be good at logical reasoning. And get the drill, right? So, what that helps you with is once you have identified your strong areas, firstly, you get confidence if you attempt those sections in the beginning. That could be a strategy you could play around. Secondly, that gives you a headspace to work on your weak areas because you have identified, okay, these are my strong areas. Now let me focus on my weak areas because that would enhance my preparation and take it to the next level. So, firstly, identify what are your strengths. Is it maths? Is it logical reasoning? Is it English? And if you don't feel confident in any of the five subjects, which subject excites you the most? Which subject interests you the most? That can possibly become your strength. Double down on that subject. Similarly, when you talk of your weaknesses or your weak points, all of us have weaknesses. If I take my example, I was not particularly good at the quant section at all. But did that stop me from not doing quant or not practicing quant or not looking at what high scoring topics are in the quant section or how I can maximize a few topics and then get some marks here and there in the quant section, and maybe probably develop some strategies and shortcuts with respect to the quant section instead of getting afraid of the section and neglecting it. I'm just giving an example of quant. This could be any section for you. This could be critical reasoning for a lot of you, which I know is something which bothers you. So the way to go about is confront your fear, confront your weak point, address it, be honest with it that this is something which I need to work on, this is a weakness and I have to get over it if I have to cross the line, if I have to get into the top 3 NLUs. And trust me guys, this is just a hustle for the next 4 months. Once you are done with this, you don't have to look back at it ever again. दोबारा क्वांट कभी नहीं पढ़ना, दोबारा सीआर कभी नहीं पढ़ना, दोबारा जीके करंट अफेयर्स कभी नहीं पढ़ना लाइफ में, unless you want to pursue something like me. But yes, this is the last time you are going to study all of these 5 sections. So why not push a little harder, make your weak sections a little bit more consolidated, double down on your strong sections, and then look at what are the opportunities and threats you need to capitalize and counter on. Maybe Amitendra sir can substantiate on how you can identify opportunities and how you can eliminate threats.
So one thing I would like to go back over here is opportunity when we are talking about Govind. What is important here is to understand that अगर मैं opportunity की यहाँ बात करता हूँ, so I can actually convert my strengths into opportunities out here, but at the same time, even my weaker sections can be an opportunity for myself, because at this point of time, I see opportunity as something where I'm able to understand myself better. So, for example, if something is not working for me, and just to tell you, when you say you are equally worried about your quantitative section, actually at that point of time, believe me, at your time the quant was far difficult, because the number of topics you had to cover at that point of time, what CLAT would ask or even ILET would ask, was far higher than what they are, because ultimately they would ask 20 questions at that point of time.
Correct.
And they would go on
It
to
included
cover geometry, algebra, everything. Actually today their focus is mostly on arithmetic actually, and certain areas
correct.
limited to that actually. So they can also see that as an opportunity, that today, for example, I'm giving you that quantitative techniques as an example, that today the opportunity lies in the fact that I have lesser topics to cover to understand this, and this can be an opportunity for me. Similarly, the moment I understand my strong areas, the moment I understand my weak areas, that itself is an opportunity for me understanding that weak area, because I still have what I see as I still have 115 days out there actually, where I can work upon those. And that is why I have always been harping on the fact that please keep writing mocks, continue writing mocks. Or if you have not started yet, you have that fear that what if my scores go down, don't worry about that, because every mock you write, you learn about yourself, the mistakes you are committing, the questions you might be missing upon. Those are your weaker areas, and that you can work upon in those 135 days actually stay. You can't do it in the last moment, because at that point of time only pressure will mount on you, and sometimes it happens that we might give it up actually. That is not the situation we are looking at. So we should capitalize both on our stronger areas as well as weaker areas. Threats is nothing actually. I believe there is no threat out here. At the end of the day, we do understand, while I may sound philosophical, but please understand, at the end of the day, it's an examination. It's an examination getting into a good national law university. But there are so many good colleges out there, and when when I'll put myself in your place, I look at that perspective. That is not the end, but yes, I should strive to give my best over here in these two examinations, whether it is CLAT, whether it is AILT. And if I, unfortunately, but that is something which we can discuss later. So the only threat is what I will see one needs to counter. One could definitely is complacency. If you are scoring good, don't get complacent. If you're not scoring good, don't worry about it. We still have 135 days. A lot changes within hours. A lot can change in next 30 days itself actually. So don't worry whether we are left with only 35 days, or I would rather see it I'm still having 135 days. That's how I would like to figure it out over here.
Absolutely, sir. I believe the only threat you guys have is you yourself, you becoming lazy, you procrastinating, you not doing mock analysis, you not being regular with classes, and you not being honest with your preparation. That is the only threat. There's no external threat at all. The only threat is inside you. And you have to counter that. Okay, now let's get to the real deal, which is how do we go month on month with respect to making a strategy around how to achieve the maximum efficiency when we come closer to the exam. Now, I'm going to talk about this from both a beginner's perspective and an aspirant who has started his journey and is midway into his preparation. So, when we talk of the first month, which is this particular ongoing month of August, the first thing which you have to emphasize on, even if you are a beginner, even if you are an intermediate, I would say, level of preparation, and even if you are at an advanced level of preparation, the first thing, the foremost thing which you have to get right is that your concepts are clear, your foundations are strong, and thirdly, there is no GK backlog. Now, these three things can set you apart from a score of, let's say, 50, 60s in the mocks to a sudden jump, not a sudden jump, but a gradual increase and jump to 70s, 80s, 85s in the mock test. A lot of aspirants usually ask me that my mock score is not increasing and it's stuck in the range of 50 to 60 or 70. How many of you are there who are stuck between 50 to 70? Quickly give me a yes in the chat box. There's no need to be shy about it. We can absolutely work on it. Just be honest with yourself and your preparation. How many of you are stuck between 50 and 70?
So while
Or let's
the
say 50 and
students
80.
okay, so while the students are typing a yes or a no over there, I would just like them. I would just like to remind them of the fact. I'm sure they would have heard about it. If not, they'll be hearing it soon in the next couple of days. So we have a wonderful full day strategy session coming up on 18th of August, which is race to NLUs. And this time, what we have done is we have made it bigger, we have made it better, and we'll have three different phases of race to NLU. The first phase will be the race to NLU Head Start, which happens on 18th of December for every student across the country. If you're an LST student, definitely join it. You have to pre-register yourself. There is no cost attached to it. If you're non-LST student, you can just pay a minimum fee of 99 rupees and join the session. 5 to 6 hours of marathon session on 18th of August, which is a Sunday. Pre-registration for everyone, irrespective whether you are a CL student or a non-CL student, is mandatory. And from 25th August, we will visiting some 33, 34 cities across the country, where we'll be doing the phase 2 strategy session, and finally we'll close with the finale in October. So first of all, 18th August, mark your calendar. Don't plan anything, no vacations, nothing. It's definitely a long weekend, but that is something which is definitely going to help you a lot. Every year, last year, students gave wonderful feedback, and they definitely improved upon their score. So if you are getting stuck, not stuck, doesn't matter. Every strategy is going to help you out there actually, and it's time to grab those opportunities. So we'll also catch you on 18th of August actually. So going, we can move ahead. Okay, so yes, lot of yeses actually out there. 50 to 70 tha tumhara question. Lot of yeses out there.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Also, just continuing what Amitendra sir informed you about, you have the link in your chat box as well. You can copy this link and go for the registration as soon as you want. After this session, of course. Don't go right away. Okay, just keep the link same. Right. So, carrying on the discussion that a lot of you are stuck between 50 to 70s or even let's say 80s. The first and foremost thing which you need to ask yourself is, am I fundamentally clear with all my concepts of English, logical reasoning, legal, quant? That is the first question. Second question is, am I still having a lot of GK backlog of the previous months? These are the two foundational questions which you need to firstly ask, honestly answer, and then resolve. If you are not building your concepts in the month of August, things are going to get tougher in the upcoming months because you would probably increase your mock frequency. You will probably look at defining a strategy for yourself. But if the foundation of the building is weak, the building is bound to collapse. I don't want that to happen for any one of you. So the first thing which we'll work at, if we haven't yet, is building the foundation, setting all your concepts right, be it all your subjects, right? And again, the second point is clearing GK backlog. How many of you have GK backlog? It could be 10 days, it could be 100 days, it could be right from January to July. Just give me a yes or no if you have a GK backlog in the chat box, guys.
A lot of them would have it actually because even if they don't have no, that sense of confidence is something which is important actually, because GK, the problem here is many people believe that I tend to forget actually, and that's for that reason you might hear a lot of them actually saying yes out here.
Okay, someone has asked me what's the basic pass mark for CLAT. That depends on the difficulty level of the paper. It varies every year. The cutoff increases if the paper is easy. If the paper is difficult, the cutoff would go down. So you can
I would
check that out.
I would go in rather take it. I'll answer it in a very technical way. There is no pass mark, so you have to get out of your school exam mindset, buddy. You have to get out of that mindset that I have to score 33 to pass in the examination. Here, there is nothing pass or fail actually. Okay, so it's a cutoff out there. You have to clear, and the cutoff would vary not just from NLU to NLU, but from category to category. Domicile-based reservations are there. Even within categories, the cutoffs would vary. Now, the cutoffs, as Govind mentioned, it is completely dependent. Forget about everything else. It is completely dependent on the difficulty level of the paper. I'll just give you one example. In CLAT 2023, which was held in December 2022, the cutoff for NLS Bangalore general category was 93.25 or around that actually. But last year it was 99.75. We all know CLAT 2024. I'm sure all of you have seen that paper. Fairly easier. In fact, a lot of students got surprised and they did not well actually. A lot of them did well really in the IELTS examination. Surprise element took them actually in a different mode altogether actually. So that is also important to understand. But first of all, get out of that school mindset, school examination. You are not supposed to pass or fail here. You have to give your best performance. The best performance here is, are you able to clear that cutoff in your respective category in your dream college? That's it.
Right. Also, coming back to our initial question that if you have a GK backlog, so thing of relief is you are not alone. But a moment of panic is that you have to cover this backlog in this month itself. Please make a note of it. I have emphasized it a lot in my daily sessions as well. That pick but one particular week for one particular day. Go in a reverse chronological order. Start with July week 4, give it a day or two, then go to July week 3, go to July week 2, and subsequently try clearing your backlog in the month of August, ideally. And if not, then at least in the month of September, mid September at max. That would give you sufficient time for your revision. You need at least 3 to 4 revisions when you cover such a huge chunk of information, when you cover current affairs which span across an year. You think you read it once, you'd probably forget it. You have to revise it consistently. And when you are daily studying your current affairs, make a note of doing a revision every week or every 10 days so that you keep refreshing it and you don't have to do it again and again. Next point is regarding strategy. Now, August is the month where you need to start thinking about building the right strategy for the exam. Without a strategy, you cannot get top 10 NLUs. That is for sure. You need to have a strategy in place. You need to have a strategy with regards to your strengths and weaknesses. You need to have a strategy with regards to which section you would attempt first, which section you would attempt at last. You need to have a strategy about how much time you devote to each particular section. You need to have a strategy on how you would complete the remaining portion which you have left, the weak topics or the GK backlog. So everything has to be strategized and has to be done in this particular month, month one, which is the month of August. So if you haven't done that, please make sure you do that on a priority. Second thing is, if you haven't gauged your performance through mocks or previous year question papers, please do that at the earliest. You need to have a realistic idea of where do you stand in the competition. So give a mock and be honest with yourself. Give it in a timed manner in 2 hours, and try to give it in the slot in which the actual CLAT exam happens, and also look at the previous year questions to get a fair bit of idea of what to expect when you're going to write that exam on 1st of December. I would let Amitendra sir continue with month two.
Yeah, so in fact, now when we are looking at going last 135 days or so, so you have given them the entire month of August to build on their strategy, start working towards their strategy actually. In fact, month two, and I would rather include month three and four, is where I think we should look forward to having that strategy, which I believe can work for me actually. Now there may be some alterations I would require. I probably would want to do. At the same time, I should be open because at the end of the day, please understand the on the day of the examination, whatever strategy I may have in mind, I might be required to change depending on the level of difficulty in the paper. And that has happened earlier with the students actually, and that quick judgment is very very important, but that judgment can only be formed if you have written enough mocks, you have understood, you have analyzed, you have understood your mistakes, you have rectified upon them actually, leaving no not much room for further mistakes actually. So these three next 3 4 months are going to be very very crucial. So foundation building is what you should definitely try to complete in the month of August. September is another challenge. September as a month, I look at as a challenge because a lot of them will be actually more inclined towards their school curriculum because September is where across the country we'll have students writing their half yearly examination. I don't say that you should not do that. Your focus should be there. It's a very crucial examination, no doubt. But having said that, I have already mentioned this many a times, even during analysis. I and Siddharth have spoken about this. Will your half yearly score add up to your board exams? No, they'll not add up. After the CLAT paper gets over, IELTS paper gets over, you will have another 3 months, buddy. Please understand that. Those 3 months, well utilized, can still fetch you your 98%, 99%. This half yearly will not add over there. But I'm not saying lose focus on that. But please understand your CLAT is not going to happen again till the next year actually. So I don't want anybody to be to say that okay, I'll take a drop. That is something which is not recommended. So next 3 months effort is going to be very very important. So build on your fundamentals right now. If there is a lag out there, catch up. And then next September is where you have to maintain that balance. You have to bring that balance. Time management is going to be key out there, which you have mentioned going out there. So time management is something which is going to be very very important, and taking those mocks and analyzing that continues actually. As we move closure, month three, month four, revision becomes very very important because by that time everything is already covered actually. In fact, we would also be starting in October the last mile sessions actually. So that becomes very very important that you by the time everything is done, dusted, and then we are ready for the last mile revision sessions, and where we only work on our strategy. That is what they should completely focus upon.
Absolutely, sir. And just adding on to what you said with regards to balancing boards and the CLAT exam, having given both the board exam and the CLAT exam, I would definitely want to be in a position where I have 98% in board exam, but I do not get any NLU. On the flip side, a situation where I get probably 91, 92, or 95 in the board exam, and I also make it to a good NLU, probably the top 3 NLU, that would be the ideal case scenario for me. But again, it is different for everyone, and I don't want to generalize. But understand that the next step of your career would be unlocked by going to a national or university, and not by getting 1% extra marks in your board exam. It just ends up being a document. I mean, that was the case for me. But yes, suit yourself and make sure you balance your preparation in that regard. We have talked enough about speed and time management. We have talked about mock analysis. Now, a few more points which I want to emphasize before we move on to the next particular slide is, make sure you stick consistent to your revision strategy as well. In month 3 and 4, you should have a proper consolidated revision plan, so as to practice your weak areas, so as to practice your GK. Your GK should be revised at least 3 to 4 times before you sit for the actual exam. And you would also increase your mock frequency, so the time allocated for your mock analysis and working on your mistakes would also go up. So plan your preparation accordingly, that you would have to revise and give more time to revision, give more time to working on weak areas, and then proceed accordingly, right? Okay, I hope that's clear. Let's move on to the subject wise roadmap. Also, I'm seeing all your questions in the chat box. I'll address a few of them, most of them, once we are done with the subject wise roadmap. So stay put, stay hold, and we'll discuss that. Let's start with the English section. So when it comes to the English section, the most important thing which comes to mind is the reading comprehension. All of the questions are reading comprehension based. Now you would have different types of questions, be it factual questions, be it logical reasoning based questions, be it vocab based questions, be it grammar based questions. Although CLAT is not asking grammar a lot these days, but still you need to have your basics in place. You need to have a good reading speed. I have had a session on how to increase reading speed. I have also had a session on introduction to reading comprehension. Make sure you check them out. We'll put them in the I button when this video is available as a recorded video as well. Make sure you go through those basic concepts. Make sure you have your accuracy in place. Make sure you are practicing your vocabulary every day, ideally by reading the newspaper or by using a particular book or websites, whichever way you guys are working towards it. Make sure you consistently work towards getting better at reading comprehension, because that is not just crucial for the English section, that is crucial for the legal section, that is crucial for the logical section, that is crucial for the GK section. So 4 out of your 5 sections are reading comprehension based. So you would have to be good at it. You cannot ignore it. You cannot neglect it. There's no scope of cracking the exam if you are not strong with your reading comprehension. So if it is not your strength as of now, you would have to work towards making it your strength. I would let Amitendra sir take the next point, which is about legal.
Okay, so legal, in fact, I would say, Govind, yahan par, what is important is just focus on few things, very few aspects I would like to add over here. One is, of course, what you have mentioned is important, legal updates. So judgments become very, very important. New legislations become very, very important, and especially this particular year, 1st of July, when the 3 new laws were became effective actually. And time and again, I have mentioned these may figure in legal, may figure in GK, but these 3 laws are going to be very, very important this year, actually. And because they are related to law, that's very, very important. And I think more important is when it comes to, and I would rather add over here the GK part as well, is that when you, so the mocks, the questions which appear in the mocks, they are a very wonderful source of these 2 sections, actually. In fact, all these sections, even if one does that, actually, that would really, really help in their preparation. So mocks, mocks, writing the mocks as per the schedule is something which is very, very important. And I would rather, in fact, mention here that once you have taken the marks, once you've analyzed, after a few days, maybe in a fortnight's time, try to go back and look at the some of the previous mocks, at least 2-3 of the previous mocks, redo them. That would really boost up your confidence actually out here. But yes, legal, treat it so don't get into too much of it, actually, in depth of it. But what is required from the examination perspective, the judgments, the treaties, any international news out there, actually, in the form in the field of law, especially the Indian context, that becomes very, very important. Any major judgment which has come, that is something like, for example, yesterday we are talking about maybe a couple of days back, last week. So the Supreme Court judgment about the the about I think scheduled casts. So they gave a judgment out there actually. So I think these is how you identify and you work upon them. Mocks become the most important source over here. Adding on GK, in fact, over here, before I hand it over to you back for logical reasoning. So there are a lot of questions out there. Can I be able? Can I complete the, or I'll be able to complete the backlog out here in next 1 month? It depends actually. Please understand how much time you are able to put in. That's very very important. Some of you might want to stretch it a little bit. Instead of next 30 days, maybe you'll need 45 days. But the whole intent is that you have to complete that. You can't leave anything to chance. Okay, I have a backlog. Let's forget about it. Go ahead. That's attitude will definitely not work over here. Don't look for too many resources. You have lot out there actually on this platform. GK is there. Salix's sessions are there actually. So the monthly update, the the Manthan 2.0, Manthan 1, both are important actually. Hindu analysis on a daily basis. Don't look out for too many resources. Practice the passages which are appearing in the mocks. They are really going to be very very helpful. So बहुत ज़्यादा effort नहीं है. In fact, it is all about putting that extra number of hours, and that is, I believe, always manageable, because at the end of the day, if we analyze what we have done in 24 hours every day, we'll find that we have wasted some 2 hours in a day actually. Can I manage those 2 hours for my preparation? If that is something which I'm able to achieve, I think my job is done.
Absolutely, sir. Someone has asked me in the chat box, are citations important in terms of legal? No, citations are not important. You are not lawyers yet. You are law aspirants, and you don't need to look at citations.
I'm just happy that they are not asking you, can I read DD Basu? I've seen that happening in classrooms. Guys, please
So, guys, you
understand, you have to get into a law school. You are not lawyer. Please understand that. Understanding helps, but you don't have to get into the depth of it. Please understand.
absolutely. You just need to have a basic overview of the judgment. As sir was quoting that there was recent Supreme Court judgment about sub-classification within the scheduled caste. There was also a landmark judgment regarding states being allowed to put taxes on mining. So these are the judgments you would have to closely watch. Just look at what was the ratio, what was the judgment given, what was the main thing which was discussed in this particular judgment, and that should be enough for you. Don't have to go deep into it, don't have to understand the legal intricacies. You would have 5 years at law school to study all of that, so don't worry. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about logical section. So when it comes to the logical section, this section has been the Achilles heel for a lot of aspirants, and it would continue to do so, because this is something which you haven't studied in school. This is very new for you, and that is understandable that you struggle a little bit initially with your logical reasoning section, be it your concepts like assumptions, conclusions, inferences, strengthening, weakening, parallel reasoning, all of that. Once you get the fundamentals right, you just need to put in the right amount of practice. You just need to be aware of the common pitfalls and traps, which we always discuss in our practice sessions, which happen every Thursday on at 8 p.m. on the Law Entrance YouTube channel. So make sure you come and attend those sessions. We have discussed a strategy on approaching logical reasoning as well as reading comprehension. Make sure you just focus on firstly building the concepts and then applying them through thorough practice. Developing the right thought process with respect to solving your questions is very important when it comes to the logical reasoning section. Don't try to argue with the answer which is given in the answer sheet that my thought process is also right. Your thought process might be right in 1 out of 100 cases, but the answer sheet is right 99 out of 100 times. So try to understand what are you lacking, what are you not able to grasp, which is not leading you to the right answer. This is how you approach logical reasoning. Lastly, when you talk of quant and DI, this is a very underrated section, and a lot of aspirants ignore it. But again, this can be a deal breaker. This can take you through from, let's say, an LU which is at rank 10 to an LU which is like NLS or NALSAR or NLUD. So make sure you, not NLUD does not ask maths now, but yes, NLS, NALSAR, NUJS. If you want to target these three colleges, then quant is indispensable, guys. You need to just focus on a very few topics. As sir was pointing it out, that you have very limited syllabus when it comes to quant, as opposed to me, who had to study mensuration, probability, trigonometry. I don't know what all we had to study, but yes, you guys have it pretty sorted. So you have to just focus on your data interpretation, your arithmetic, your percentages, and your averages, and these should just fetch you some easy marks. CLAT is not going to ask you a very tough or complicated level of quant. It's usually manageable on most of the years. And yes, you should definitely not ignore it. So this is what we sum up with the 4-month subject-wise roadmap. Before we end today's session and before we move to the Q&A, there are a few important points which you need to remember when it comes to the last 4 months of preparing for CLAT. First point I've already discussed, that do not neglect the quant section and give equal importance to all subjects. Every question is going to fetch you 1 mark for one question. So there's no partiality there. So why should you be partial with any particular subject? Second point, we also discussed that do an in-depth analysis, learn from mistakes. Important point is maintaining a mistake diary. This is something which a lot of aspirants miss out on. They just identify the mistake and they think, okay, now I won't do this again. But then they do this again, do that again in the next mock. If you don't note it down, if you don't work on it, you'll probably repeat it again. So make sure you maintain a diary where you have all your mistakes jotted down, and you revise that diary before you attempt the next particular mock. This particularly worked really well for me, and I think would work really well for you as well. I would let sir take the next few points.
Yeah, in fact, what you mentioned, maintaining that diary, Govind, in fact, it would be a good idea when you write the mock, the next mock. Go back, open the diary, and see how many of that you can strike off. Okay, I did not do this mistake again today, actually. See, that smaller improvements, that small steps is something which is going to help you out, actually. So, thoda bhi improvement, I have told this earlier as well. If we improve just 3 to 4 marks, 5 marks maximum, every single passing mock, believe me, you'll be there, right there in September itself. So there's nothing lost yet, actually. Don't think even about. So from that perspective, in fact, there was a question around that, actually. See, I'm not even targeting NLS Bangalore. I think somebody, I'll just go back before I move on. Mishika, allow me to take this very differently, but I would say, why you want to lose that opportunity? Why not Bangalore, actually? So do you think that 4 month is not good enough? 4 month is good enough, actually. You can still go there, actually. You didn't appear for CLAT last year. That's wonderful. No problem with that, actually. So I would say everybody has 24 hours. Probably they'll spend 8 hours in school. That you have to your CLAT advantage, actually. So you have to think that from that perspective. And I've always maintained this: don't lose the battle without fighting it, actually. So guys, don't lose it till at least 2 p.m. on 1st of December. Please understand this. So all your hard work should be directed towards that, what you'll be doing at 2 p.m. on 1st of December. That's how it is. Coming back, studying GK current affairs, it's a regularity thing. Nothing else can help you out there if you're not regular. If you keep on delaying, procrastination is something which may not help here at all, actually, and this will work to your disadvantage. So it's a thing which is like daily. You have to learn daily, and revision is very, very important. See, please understand, it's vast, unpredictable. At the same time, I would say my definition of GK is anything under the sun, but there are limitations out there as well. But please understand, revision is one of the most important area especially when it comes to general awareness, and that too with quantitative techniques. That fear will keep on coming back to you because you are not revising on a regular basis. They are limited topics. Revise karte rahoge. If you keep doing revision fortnightly basis for quantitative techniques, GK weekly revisions are good enough. The moment you start doing this, you'll always remember the facts and everything, actually. That's very, very important. Social media distraction, I think that's the battle they need to win, actually. So time and again I have spoken about this, and I'm repeating it. If you when you're going to sleep today at 11, just look at your Instagram account, just look at your other social media handles, and if you can look at Instagram provides you that how much time you have spent, actually. That analysis is there. Believe me, knowingly, unknowingly, many a times we spend a lot of time there. But is it going to help me out there? Nothing is going to help me out there. Social media will not help. My point is, next 135 days, unless you have a friend who is equally ambitious like you for CLAT, that person is also preparing for CLAT, I don't see a reason why I should be even catching up with my friends for next 135 days. It's about my career, my dear friend. And if I have a good friend, somebody I call as best friend, then that person will definitely understand that my friend's career is important. So less of not just social media, but less of socializing as well is what is going to be very, very important next 135 days. And that is what they need to understand. And I think the rest all we have spoken today so much actually. Weak sections पे काम करो, improve करो. 135 days है, अभी भी बहुत improvement हो सकता है. Lot can be done from here itself. Nothing is lost out here. Work with that confidence. That is very, very important. And last but not the least, of all things you do, don't forget your health. That is important. Don't forget your health. So do whatever it takes to. For some, it could be meditation, some it could be walking, some it could be jogging, some it could be music at the same time. That helps you to relax. Whatever helps you to relax, but at the same time, that physical fitness. Because if you're not physically fit, you're not mentally fit. That's how I see. I don't see it the other way around. If I'm not mentally fit, I may not be fit. I don't see that way. I see it this way only. If you're physically fit, you're mentally fit, and that is what you need to actually. So, Govind, back to you once again.
All right. So before we take up the questions from the chat box, I would just quickly share a couple of personal anecdotes from my preparation journey. Sir was talking about eliminating distractions, not talking to friends, not socializing. I found it really tough, like you guys are. So in today's class, a lot of you were updated with what are the recent trends, what are the recent memes, but were not updated with the current affairs I was asking you in the quiz. What I personally did was I gave my smartphone away to my parents, and I took that Nokia 1100 small phone and just stick to my laptop. And with that phone, I used to get class updates and all of that, and just stayed in touch with my teachers and all. So that really worked out for me. If you want to take an extreme measure, maybe you can try that out at your own risk. And apart from that, are 4 months enough? Are 4 months sufficient to reach that level of getting into the top NLUs? Again, a personal incident. When I first attempted CLAT in 2018, I made it to RGNUL, which is NLU Patiala. But I was not satisfied with my attempt. I was hungry for more. I thought that I deserved to be at top three. So I reattempted CLAT in 2019, and I made that decision in January of 2019, and the exam was bound to happen in May 2019. Back then, it used to be in May. And in those 4 to 5 months, I managed it along with a full-fledged NLU college, which had assignments, which had classes, which had socializing, which had everything. And if I can do it, I'm not any extraordinary genius. You guys can also do it. You have time, and you just need to be focused, just need to be disciplined, eliminate distractions, form a strategy, and you can get it. It's absolutely possible. I made it. You can also make it. Let's address a few questions, sir.
Okay, Govind, I would, before you start picking up the question, there was one question out there I'm not able to find, but I still recall that. So somebody asked that I have already completed my college. Can I take CLAT? Yes, you can take CLAT. CLAT has no age limit. NLUs, or for that matter, any law school in our country, and this is after a Supreme Court guideline, actually, judgment. So there is no age limit to get into a law school. But instead of taking CLAT, Renita, okay, instead of taking CLAT, my suggestion I would rather leave the judgment to you, is to go for the 3 year LLB program, and which you can even do from National Law University, Bangalore. Actually, there are quite other good colleges. You have Faculty of Law, Delhi University, you have BHU, you have Symbiosis Law School, you have Jindal Global Law School. A lot of them offer this 3 year program. So rather than going for 5 year, my take would be you go for the 3 year LLB from the good NLUs, or rather some good private or government law colleges, rather than going for the 5 year. But the better judgment remains with you. You are still eligible for CLAT. There is no age limit out there. Yeah, we can pick up
Right.
other questions. Yeah.
Okay, so Kavya is saying that 24 paper was too easy, but apparently 25 is going to be hard, and I am scared. You should be excited, Kavya. If it is going to be a difficult paper, it is a very good thing for good aspirants. It is a beneficial thing for people who have been diligent in the preparation, because people who have been mediocre in their preparation or are just attempting it through flukes, they get filtered out. So serious aspirants should wish for a very difficult paper so that the cutoff
Can I,
comes
can I,
down and
can I,
you can
can I,
get through.
can I add
Sure,
here,
sir.
Govind?
Sure, sure.
Kavya, just focus on CLAT preparation rather than astrology. I'm sure you would have attended some of my session where people have asked for cutoff, and I've always said my job is not about predicting. I'm not an astrologer. I'll be able to predict at 2 p.m. on 1st of December. But instead of being worried about whether the paper is going to be easy or difficult, now that we understood, we have seen some last year's papers, What is important? Can I maintain that nerve of mine in those 2 hours, whether it's easy or difficult? That is what separates the people who get into the NLU or who don't get into the NLU on that day, actually. So all that is important is I'm ready for that. That is something which is important. For that I have worked really hard. At the same time, remember, during the course of the session I spoke about, I have to be open minded. My strategy might change looking at the paper, and that is what a lot of toppers have done earlier, actually. So that is what you should be doing rather than worrying about. And as Govind mentioned, get excited about it. If it's going to be slightly difficult, that's a good thing to happen, actually.
I can also give you the cutoff. I know the cutoff. It's going to be somewhere between 0 to 120 for sure.
Yeah, obviously. The best answer is 120 itself.
Okay, so Reva is saying, can we complete 6 months GK in a month? Yes, you absolutely can. Take 1 week at a time and then go in a reverse chronological order. And you'd have to devote a couple of hours to it, but it's definitely manageable. If not a month, then as Sir said, take 45 days, but you have to do it. So it is definitely manageable. Break it down into chunks. Is Manthan enough to cover backlogs? Yes, Manthan is enough, but I would again recommend you to substantiate with one additional resource so that you have a more comprehensive overall coverage of your GK section. Maybe a newspaper could be one, a Hindu analysis session could be one. Just stick with two good resources. One is Manthan, and one you can choose on your own. You have that discretion. Kavya is saying, I find some GK compendium in Telegram. If I read those, is it enough? I don't know which compendiums you're referring to, but I would highly
Because
discourage
we
you.
don't know whether it's a trusted source or not. So we'll definitely not
Absolutely.
recommend that, actually. And already LST is giving you so much of resources, actually. Why do you need extra resources? Divyansh, I would say definitely I was not expecting this question from you. You have been, I know you have been attending all our sessions, you are regular, you are there in the classes and everything. Can I refer bare acts for legal? Govind, you want to say something?
I mean, sure, you can. If you want to go argue a case in the court tomorrow, then you should definitely refer to Bayer Acts. But if you are a CLAT aspirant, then you should not even know what a Bayer Act is the answer to this question.
Okay, so in the mocks, there are a few questions on sections from BNS. I'm sure these sections are the ones which are the important ones. They are the ones which are differentiating actually what was the earlier act actually and what it is now, right? Some of them have been retained, some of them have changed. From that perspective, yes, but don't get into the depth of it actually. That what my recommendation would be. Well, how many marks were required for 400 rank in CLAT 2024? I believe roughly around 95 was the cutoff, around 400, 500 actually. Uh, okay, so mostly about this. Can we have like a crash course video for the backlog GK? Yes, we'll be doing a marathon next month actually. So we'll be doing it around third week of September, fourth week of September. We'll definitely do marathon sessions. We'll do last mile revision sessions actually. So lot your coming way actually. Don't worry about. But the first thing is you should start doing it on your own. Don't wait for everything for the last moment actually, because last moment if you keep on delaying, that panic will definitely start. That is something which you need to avoid. That is something. Will we get a session regarding what can come in GK and legal like last year videos? Yes, last year where those last mile sessions you are talking about, Arman, we did it actually. And in fact, what Suhasini mentioned in legal, that was there. What I covered a lot of them were there, except for those. We'll do that. Don't worry. We'll do all what we have been doing and much more than that. Every year we add more to that actually. That is very, very important for you to understand. But your self learning does not stop here because something is coming your way. That is important. Those are all revision, last mile strategy kind of stuff, but that will happen. But your learning should not stop.
Okay, sir, I'll take one question which I
Sure, sure.
believe would be relevant for a lot of aspirants here. Sir, stuck at 80 marks in mocks, how do I get a breakthrough? So, people who are stuck at 70, 75, 80, 85, what you need to do is do a very micro analysis of where you are losing marks. And that again brings me back to the mock analysis, the same thing. You need to see what is the pattern where you are losing out on marks. Is it a particular topic? Is it your attempt strategy? Is it your time management? Is it not being able to read the entire paper? Is it something which is fundamentally not going through your way with respect to your concepts? So you need to narrow it down to what exactly is the problem is. To solve this particular question, you need to know what is the problem. So if you go to a doctor, he first gives you a diagnosis and then he gives you a medicine. So if you ask me a medicine, I would firstly ask you your diagnosis. Where are you losing your marks? That would help you answer the question on how to get a breakthrough. That is how you solve that question.
How to remember
Okay.
vocab? It's okay. So, how to remember vocab? Rather, I would say, Jeet, that don't try to cram it. Actually, try to understand. That is important. Don't take too much of load when it comes to vocab. The best part about the CLAT paper and IELTS paper, I believe, is the vocab is contextual out there. Actually, so you don't need to worry a lot out there. It always helps if you know it from beforehand. Actually, but yes, if you are not sure of it, always advise when it comes to vocabulary based questions which come in CLAT or reality, go back, read the sentence in which through the passage, and that would really help you to figure out. It's all basic English, please understand that. Don't worry too much. Also, you have your vocabulary book in hand. That is something. Reading newspaper on a daily basis, when you come across new words, looking forward to their meaning and usage, that is something which you should be doing on a regular basis. That will definitely help.
Absolutely. Sanvi is saying, sir, how to prepare GK from Manthan or Manthan 2.0. This is again different for every aspirant. Some people might just read it and retain that information, though I would not suggest that. I would suggest you to make notes, either pen paper based notes or notes on your laptop, and then probably giving them a weekly revision and then a monthly revision. That is the right way to go about it. You go through a document, you make pointers, you make notes, and then you revise them. That is the only way to prepare GK.
How many questions should we practice or aim for daily practice? There is no limit to it, actually, I would rather say, but do as much as you are comfortable with, actually, and that helps you in your learning. So don't set big goals for yourself, actually, and rather, I would say that you have 5 areas to work upon, actually. So set goals for each of the 5 areas rather than focusing on one area. Don't set bigger goals for yourself. And it's a good idea to appreciate yourself every time you reach your goal. Actually, pat yourself, treat yourself with a chocolate or something like that. Actually, don't worry about your weight gains. Actually, next 3 months we'll lose that after the board की exam की तैयारी करते समय वैसे भी lose हो जाएगा weight, so don't worry about that. So treat yourself, and I think that's a good idea, actually. So don't set a number. Do as much as you can.
Right.
What? Okay, one I think more we'll take up and then we'll close the session. How many? Okay, 2 hours. How many hours should we give to GK every day, sir? It depends, Mukti, from student to student, actually. For some, those who have the backlog, maybe 3 hours a day would be required. For those not having backlog, 90 minutes to 2 hours is good enough, actually. So it depends from person to person, actually. How much time should we spend? Okay, this came a lot of time during the session as well. So first of all, ideal time spent, I would say, and this is where you have to stop as well. So when it comes to English, the reading comprehension section, try to limit yourself around 25 minutes maximum. When it comes to logical reasoning, 30 minutes. When it comes to legal, 35. Sometimes it might, depending on the length of the passage, may need 40, but then you'll have to adjust somewhere. GK is maximum 10 minutes or maybe 12 minutes, not more than that. Similarly, quantitative techniques 10 to 12 minutes. But ensuring that you do devote yourself to that sectional time limit. As an A, if you believe I'm able to solve, then I should stretch beyond 25 to 27. That will definitely affect your scores in some other section. Please understand, every section by design will have easy questions. Every section will have by design moderate difficulty level questions, sometimes even difficult, a couple of them. The whole idea is, can I maximize my score as much as possible? For that, I should not be in by any circumstances, I should not be in a position where I'm leaving those easy questions because I got stuck somewhere and then in the next section I could not read the easy questions, and that happens most of the time in the QT section. So this is something you have to be careful about, actually. So sticking to this timelines is very, very important. 25 minutes. Okay, I have done only 10 questions in reading comprehension, but I'm not going to stop here. I have to move on. I have to move on to my next section. Please understand that this is how you have to work upon. So this is the ideal time for everything, actually. Okay, I think, Govind, we can stop it here. It's already beyond 9, actually, and I'm sure they have their school homework to do as well, and definitely. So we'll
Sure, sure,
definitely,
sure.
guys, we'll keep on coming back. Please understand. Before I'll definitely invite Govind sir for his words of advice before we end this. But my point here is, there are so much happening. You have issues in logical reasoning, don't forget to attend Govind sir's session on YouTube channel whenever you get time. Attend live, that's more helpful. But just in case it clashes with your center class timing or your batch class timing, watch it later. That definitely is. The Hindu analysis when you come back from school happens at 3. That's a wonderful session. You should definitely utilize all the resources out there. So that is something which is very, very important. Govind, your final of word of advice before we close.
Final word of advice is just be honest with your preparation. Just give it your best for the last 4 months. Just put in everything you have got, and trust me, you would get absolutely fantastic results. That's a promise from my end. And I see a question which I get a lot of time. What is the ideal score? There's no ideal score. Depends on the difficulty level of the paper. Try to be in the top 50 people in terms of ranking, or let's say getting a 95 percentile above marks in your mock exams. That is a good metric to look at. That's all for today's session, guys. It's a wrap. And if you like today's session, please drop a like on this
I
video.
think there might be a network issue at Sir's end. So please understand. I'll just repeat that. There's nothing called ideal marks. Actually, it depends on my preparation. Okay, that's what you need to work upon. So just keep that in mind where I am at this point of time. Okay. So with that, we come to an end of this session. Thank you so much. There was a slight interruption from your end going, so I have taken forward. So don't
Okay.
worry.
Am I
So
audible, guys? Am I
yeah,
audible
you
now?
are definitely audible now. You are audible now.
Okay. Okay.
So thank you so
Okay.
much,
So
guys, for joining us today evening, and do keep watching the sessions. And see you day after tomorrow with the analysis session. I hope you have taken the mock 20 and you are ready for the analysis. So we'll present those facts once again. Thank you so much joining today, and all the best.
and don't forget to drop a comment on this video if you enjoyed this and if you want more such videos. Like and comment, must do. All right. Take care. Bye bye. Ending the session, guys.